Russian President Vladimir Putin is visiting China today, and in New York, opening statements continue today in the corruption trial for Democratic Senator Bob Menendez. Good morning, I'm Janine Herbst from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. Israel's defense minister is accusing Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of not planning an alternative to Hamas rule in Gaza. NPR's Daniel Estrin reports from Tel Aviv. It's a harsh public critique of Israel's war strategy from a top official.
A debate has erupted in Israel about a, quote, day-after strategy for replacing Hamas in Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in a video said discussions about the day after are meaningless until Hamas is defeated militarily. He claimed some of Israel's efforts for replacing Hamas are covert. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant refuted that. In a speech, he said Israel's leadership has not held discussions about replacing Hamas in Gaza with another Palestinian governing body. He called on Netanyahu to declare that Israel would not establish civil or military rule in Gaza for the long term.
NPR's Daniel Estrin reporting. Russian President Vladimir Putin is visiting China today, and after a welcome that included a ceremonial review of Chinese troops, he and Chinese leader Xi Jinping pledged to take their already close ties to a new level. NPR's John Ruwich has more.
The two-day trip to China is Putin's first following his inauguration last week for a fifth term as president. It highlights how important China has become to an increasingly isolated Russia amid the war in Ukraine. After Putin's arrival, both leaders showed a desire to deepen their ties. Xi told Putin the relationship today is hard-earned and the two sides need to cherish and nurture it. Following a round of talks Putin called extremely constructive and substantive, they signed a statement deepening what they called their country's comprehensive strategic partnership. On Ukraine, Xi said both agreed a political settlement was the right direction, and he said China will continue to play a constructive role. John Ruwich, NPR News, Shanghai.
Opening statements continue today in the corruption trial of U.S. Senator Bob Menendez. The New Jersey Democrat is accused of taking bribes in exchange for favors. NPR's Ryan Lucas has more.
Assistant U.S. Attorney Laura Pomerantz told the jury that in the U.S., public officials are supposed to put the public interest first. She said Menendez put his greed first. She says he and his wife accepted lavish bribes, including cash and gold bars, from three New Jersey businessmen. In return, she said he used his power and influence to protect and enrich them and benefit the governments of Egypt and Qatar. Menendez attorney Avi Weitzman said Menendez is a dedicated public servant who took no bribes. He said Menendez advocated on behalf of his constituents and that prosecutors are trying to twist that into a crime. The jury will next hear opening statements from Menendez's co-defendants, two New Jersey businessmen. Then the government will call its first witness. Ryan Lucas, NPR News, New York.
You're listening to NPR News from Washington.